This morning on the Sunday Footy Show, 3 on the trot for those bold Tigers. Yes, they remain on top of the table. Skipper Trent Cotchin is live with the boys. The Cats kick truly against an inaccurate D's to keep their unbeaten start. Premier midfielder Mitch Duncan is in the house. A boil over in the West as a young new-look Fremantle knock off the reigning premiers. David Mundy to join us. The Crows cut power at the Adelaide Oval to storm home in Showdown 42. The panel discussed the fallout. Plus, Bucks Pies ruins Buddy's 250th and the Giants. It's time for the all-conquering Sunday Footy Show. Huh? Yes, very good morning. Very good morning and welcome to the Sunday Footy Show as we welcome our all-conquering panel headed up by Billy Brownless. How are you going?
Okay, TJ, lovely to be with you this morning.
Nathan Brown, good to see you again.
Excited, TJ.
Are you genuinely excited?
After that intro, I was
Pumped.
Oh, Nathan, I wouldn't be giving you for someone,
get up and about it Sunday morning,
for someone who sounds like they've got jocks on 2 sizes too small, I would seriously not pot
It's
anyone
Sunday
else with their
morning, we need to
voiceovers.
get up.
Damien Barrett, sorry, you should be in the middle of this.
Hello, TJ. I liked it today. You're up.
Oh,
You're up.
thank you.
You were up.
Thank you.
Well
Not a voice coach. And Matthew Lloyd, 5-time All-Australian.
Thanks,
Matthew
TJ.
Lloyd.
Great season unfolding. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, and of course Kane Corns is here.
Chompers, thanks, Alan.
This is a prime example of because they're behind in South Australia, he's only just cottoned on to the whole Chompers thing. Kane, you don't need to go there, mate. And to think that I was actually pumping you up before the show. Anyway, let's have a look at the results so far for round 3.
Results of those teeth.
And it all started off on Friday night. Collingwood, 1 point is all they needed to get 4.
Yeah.
GWS, 42-point winners over a very disappointing North Melbourne Damo. Richmond, 11-point winners over the West Coast Eagles. Melbourne, oh boy, did they shoot themselves in the foot going down to Geelong by 29 points. Adelaide in Showdown, 17-point winners over Port Adelaide. And Freo, look at that, 16-point victors over the reigning premiers as we take a look at the ladder so far for round 3. 3 teams undefeated so far. Adelaide Crows on top, followed by Richmond and also Geelong. Melbourne just slipping into the 8 at the moment. And if you look at the bottom 10, you'll see the Western Bulldogs there. Collingwood just sneaking their way up. The Gold Coast Suns on the bottom, one of several winless teams. What about that? Here's a trivia question for you. What's this?
A ladder.
Yeah, I know that. But what's this? Here we go. What do you reckon that is? That is the Richmond bandwagon. Okay, again, a little bit delayed that. So, are they justified in clamouring aboard the Richmond bandwagon?
Right now they are, but what we need to go back to, Bill, is they checked out last year. That last round against Sydney, it was one of the most embarrassing Richmond performances that I've ever seen. So to be 3-0 after 3 rounds is phenomenal. Second on the ladder. Let's take a look at some of the winning goals. 6 goals after 3. Yes, after half-time, Cornsey, yesterday. So they toughed it out. Not too tough in the end.
Who have they picked up?
Now, Melbourne kicked themselves out. We'll talk about that later. But when they needed somebody, they are very reliant on these two. But, gee, they were good last night. And I'm happy for people to be reliant if you're that good every week, and they were good.
Brownie, what happened in that first quarter and a bit to have Dangerfield so low on
He played
possessions?
a fair bit forward as well, and he just wasn't in the game, but he just willed himself to get back in the game. And it was 32 possessions in 2.5 quarters of footy plus 2 goals. It was outstanding.
Tom Hawkins, Bill, and Menzel, they've stepped up too this year.
Daniel Menzel has. You just think, if he didn't have 4 knees, he'd be the best player in the comp, Daniel Menzel. And he's strong overhead, kicks it well, and Tomahawk's getting around a bit more now.
Well, was he stung by the criticism last week? That obviously stung him into action.
Well, it wasn't a lot of criticism.
Well,
you know
it
what?
was from the coach.
It was a look like that. Come on, mate. And Tom just said, yeah, that's all right.
No,
and then he looked back.
He said it in the media
No,
conference.
there wasn't much of a
Chris
sting.
Scott.
There was a bit, Bill.
Well, not really.
Did you listen to him?
No.
Hey, the reliance on Dangerfield and Selwood is something that Chris Scott always addresses. But he's got it to a point now, and you can hear this yourselves, that he's really comfortable with that reliance.
Our 2 best players were sensational. You know, I probably shouldn't say that because I encourage people to talk about how we depend on them, but we do. Everyone depends on their best players. The thing that we're really fortunate with as a coaching group is that we've got 2 players who are super players in and of themselves, but when the chips are down, they're just unbelievable.
They're a fascinating side, Geelong, because they have stars at the top end, but they have a lot of players who don't contribute a lot as well. So I look at the top 4 and I thought they were going to slip out, but I see Adelaide ahead of them, the Giants and the Western Bulldogs, although they beat the Dogs twice last year. But I think with Sydney falling away, Hawthorn, Brownie.
Port Adelaide?
Yeah, Port.
They're going to be around the mark.
They should
that
be
fourth
around
spot's going to be interesting because I thought Melbourne should have beaten them last night.
They should have, Brownie, and the reason they didn't is because of the missed opportunities in front of goal. They kicked 7 goals, 11 to half-time to the Cats 9-2. Now, in a competition as even as this could really come back to hurt them, and it's a game they should have won last night. In the end, what they kicked, 13-19, which is just awful. And how you can miss goals like this in an indoor stadium is remarkable.
Now, I thought that Usain Bolt was pretty quick out of the blocks, but I've never seen a bloke jump out of his chair as quickly as Nathan has to get to that plasma.
Nice work, TJ. I'm a big fan of Melbourne, and they had no Lewis, no Hogan, and no Gawn for most of it last night, but they were very good in one area and absolutely very poor in another area. Let's have a look at their forward pressure. This was amazing last night. This is what kept them in the game for most of it in the first half. They were just ravenous at trying to get these Geelong players. This wasn't just one part of it. This was every time they went inside forward 50. They were just at the player, at the man, laying tackles. They'd go back in, then miss a goal. Have a look at this. There was 2, 3, 4 players around winning this football back. But that was the good part of it. Now the bad part of it, you'd think you'd be able to defend in your own defensive 50. Have a look at some of these efforts. This is where they lost the game. This is why their kicks were so easy. This was a slow play coming in. That is a high, slow ball. There's nobody on Tom Hawkins, and there's 2 young players there. Look at how much space. I've never seen a player this year have as much one-on-one time as Tommy Hawkins. This high kick goes in. They've got 4 players here. Somebody needs to come off, spoil this ball to the boundary. That's just far too easy, and that's how they ended up kicking 9 goals from 12 entries in quarter 2 and 3.
He's very wound up.
Very wound up, yes, but they've got to win those games if they're to make the top 8. Just want to talk about Harry Taylor, Bill. I wrote about this yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think this could be an early end to his career. If this continues...
Really?
Career?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think
That's a big statement, Lord. He's on big money this year.
Yeah, I know he is, but I just think if they keep playing him here...
Just goes back,
It's
doesn't
going
he,
to
now?
end his career because he's too slow in the forward line. He has no explosive pace. He's got no forward craft.
So,
They've kicked 55 goals for the year. You know how many he's kicked? None. None.
So
he's
we
given
saw
off a couple, but 6 disposals, Bill.
Yeah, I know. And look, the experiment is probably not working. So he goes back and he still plays for another year
Bill,
or
it's
2.
still unbeaten. You can't say it's
But
not
also,
working. The
we
team's
just
winning.
saw Tom Hawk mark some one-on-one.
Yep.
Do you know why? Because Harry Taylor has got his man over there, so his man's not leaving Harry to punch it away from Tom Hawk.
But that is a telling stat, though. 55 goals and he hasn't had
But
one.
he's doing other work. The third bloke's not coming over the top of Tom
Could
Hawk.
someone else not be
that
doing
much
that
work.
role and he goes to
If
the back line?
Dangerfield and Selwood aren't doing their thing, we would be talking a lot more about Harry Taylor. That's the issue.
Bit like you and Albert, Bill.
Maybe
You're
yeah.
asked to play the decoy.
A decoy, exactly right. You've got to know your spot.
Maybe
And
it's time
Harry's
for
doing
Henderson to go forward and
No,
Harry Taylor
Henderson
to go
stays
back.
back. He stays back.
CJ, Max Gawn, as Brownie said, went down early in the piece yesterday, and currently
Any other North player yesterday, and they're zipping 3 North, but they're playing a lot better than that. He's a big lump of a lad, and all of a sudden they've got another option to go with Toddy Goldstein and Matt Jack Daw.
Zip and 3.
Well, you said in the pre-game meeting today, but pre-show, you hated the term zip, so I've made an intention to say it as many times as I possibly could.
I just think these Americanisms that are creeping in. Do you say zip or 0?
0 and 3.
Thank you, Matthew.
Stevie J yesterday, have a look at this, have a close look at this, boys. Stevie J being Stevie. Big Prusy gets a free kick here. Stevie was running past. Wait for the replay, it's better here. And what's happened is Stevie's too close and gives away 50, trying to be a smart aleck and get the handball off Prusy. Look, he nearly gave it too. And then Stevie's too close and gives away 50.
Yeah, good stuff. Now, Collingwood had the opportunity to get some runs on the board. Otherwise, they would have gone zip and 3 had they not got up by 1 point over the Sydney Swans. And needless to say, Nathan Buckley, quite rightly, was in his element after the game. He's very gracious in victory, isn't he? Because he could have just given the bird to the media box.
You reckon? I think he shut the lights down in the box so he wasn't seen as much as he would have been otherwise. Lord, you wrote it. The Western Bulldogs loss was gallant. They're okay against Richmond without actually looking likely to win. That was a good performance. Where do you put in the context of 2017?
If they can sharpen up their skill level, they'll be around the 8 to 10 mark, I would have thought. But I just thought that they laid 113 tackles, which is the second most highest amount in the club's history. So they're definitely playing for Nathan. It's just they've got to hit targets more. Their first quarter was as good as a quarter we've seen all year.
What about the Sydney Swans? Where are they? I mean, if they were based in Melbourne...
Yeah, they've got some players to come back, but they played probably 6 or 7 guys that aren't household names who were very young, very raw, and probably didn't get the job done the other night. I'd hold fire on them because they get a few
0 and
players
5
back.
though, Brownie.
They could be, but they will get some players
Who
back.
they got?
Well, they've got the
West
Eagles.
Coast in Perth and then the Giants.
You've got Heaney and Rampy to come back.
Oh, Rampy's 8 weeks.
Tippett.
Heaney's another 4 weeks. So.
All righty, it's with some trepidation we go down this path. It's the one thing I've learned over the past couple of weeks is what's caught my eye. Billy, what's caught yours?
Well, this caught my eye. Segment Steelers. And it's Triple M too. A very good station, by the way.
It's your own station, Bill.
4 to 6 weekdays. But
You're 4 to 7, idiot.
4 to 7, you're right. This is the Sunday. Last year I was pretty good. This is the Sunday rub. This is a Sunday rub. Have a listen to this. Segment Steelers.
Well, you've got some clout when you walk into Triple M, your first season, it's your first game on a Sunday, and you say, I want to bring something to this program. Roosy's put it on the agenda. What caught your eye?
The Sunday Rubs. What's caught your eye?
Come on, Roosie, you're better than that. Fair Nick and pinch in the segment. It's ours. And Swatter, yes.
And what would you call a segment on radio, what's caught my eye?
What caught your ear?
What caught my ear?
I'll tell you what I did see during the week, TJ, was a headline for an article about the showdown. I've never been to a showdown in Adelaide, but Kane Corns, I thought, geez, this will be good. He'll talk about the showdown. I want to hear about this. And this is Kane Corns talking about the showdown, more about himself. I loved stirring them up. I loved it when they booed me. The more they booed me, the better I played. But have a look at this against Petter. I had a competition with myself to see if I could knock over the brick wall one day. I felt it move, which is exciting. You wake up.
This is where you're a clown. You did not even read the article. They were quotes from my brother, who I said is the showdown king. That wasn't me.
Yes, it was.
Do you know what a quote is? Now, North Melbourne, the cheer squad. You think you'd know how to spell your skipper's I had one job. Now, Bill, how do you spell Zeeble?
Oh, it looks okay to me.
No, Billy was looking at Jack.
Now, when you lose a game, the worst part for an AFL coach is going to do the press conferences. They don't want to be there, and it gets even worse when you cop questions like this. Have a listen to the question that Luke Beveridge got asked last night.
Would you consider bringing in Will Minson to support the other ruckman, Campbell?
It's going to be tough, mate. He's retired. Didn't know that? Sorry, he's retired, mate. He's finished up.
He was going to go in.
I know. But the thing there is that, look, you've got to feel... We've all asked stupid questions. Well, you probably haven't, Damon.
No,
We've all asked stupid questions at media conferences. But you're right, Luke Beveridge... 8 other coaches in the competition would have torn him apart. Luke Beveridge looked after him. So good on Luke Beveridge. You got anything?
No. Let's go to a break.
Good. Before you do come up with anything, let's go to a break. A massive show coming up. Trent Cotchin to join us. Also, David Mundy, the Freo captain, is he now?
I think he is.
The Freo captain. And plenty of other guests. Stay with us. You're watching the Sunday Footy Show. Yeah, not the first time we've heard that song this year, and it certainly won't be the last either, you wouldn't have thought. Richmond, a very, very handy win over the West Coast Eagles there at the G yesterday.
Yeah, TJ, West Coast blew some early chances, 8 goals, 17, but Richmond won tough. They won with their stars again, who dominated, and one of those men is their captain, Trent Cotchin, who's made a phenomenal start to the season so far. Trent, congratulations on another win and a 3-0 start. You must be ecstatic after how the season finished last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the back of what was a pretty disappointing season last year, to have 3 wins to start 2017 off is also obviously great, and it's great for our fans and also our boys.
Hey Trent, last year it was like you guys checked out as a football club. You know, I was concerned for Damien Hardwick because the way that last game was against the Sydney Swans, where it was 100 points pretty much in the third quarter you were down by. Talk us through. You know, the chats, was it a discussion at the end of the season? Did you just have a break and then come back and talk about it? Because it's like a different side that's playing out there at the moment.
Yeah, you've probably gone through it similarly in your career. The first thing you do is reflect on your own performance, the things that you're in control of. Dim are the same as coach. And the reality is that there was things that were working and there were things that weren't working. And we've just had a really, really strong focus on the positives of what people bring to the footy club, whether that be on field but also off field. You know, we've got 45 guys on the list, different personalities, and we're embracing that. Not every player has to be the one sort of mould. That's why you're drafted, and that echoes through what Dimmer's been saying with regards to playing to your strengths, and I think it's having a profound impact.
We'll take a look at some of the game highlights, the way you guys turned the game around. 2 goals, 6 the Eagles to just 2 goals, 2. So they had more opportunities, the West Coast Eagles early, but
I've been performing, and that's what we ask of them.
Speaking of hunger for the contest, I'm not sure I've seen you play as hungry as you are right now. Your start to the season has been remarkable. Once again, yesterday, 34 disposals, 13 in the third quarter, and 19 of those contested. Trent, are you in career best form?
It's a tough question. I mean, we're 3 rounds into the competition. You know, first game I have 20-odd touches, still felt I impacted the game. Last week, you know, everyone talks about tackles and so forth. It's just a matter of everyone buying in. We all thrive on the contest, and it's really nice to be a part of something that, you know, it's the harder part of the game, but we're enjoying it.
Koch, we've shown Daniel Rioli highlights a couple of times already this morning, but just the impact he has from few possessions, pretty much like Cyril, but I mean, he was brilliant yesterday, just the impact he had in a short space of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll focus on that special goal that he kicked, but I think the greatest example is that contest with McGovern where, you know, he's far and above outweighed and outsized in a contest, manages to half it, then wins the footy, takes off and gives it to another one of our runners. And I think the greatest thing about Dan is, for such a young kid, he's very mature, and typically, you know, Indigenous guys coming from interstate and having to embrace this whole new environment and AFL footy can struggle early days, but he's been nothing short of outstanding, and taking other guys that we've drafted into the club under his wing this season's been really special from my point of view, and also the other players at the footy club.
Jack Riewoldt had 22 touches yesterday, but kicked this goal towards the end. Have a look at him. He's like a madman, Koch. Have a look close.
He's a very
up
ugly
here.
man, isn't he, boys?
Oh, have a look at this, mate. He's like a madman, a psycho. Look at me. I've done it. I've won it for us.
Oh, well, that's what you ask of your big forwards. I don't think he impacted the scoreboard too much yesterday, but he kicked, you know, the most important sealer in the game.
Yep.
And I think the thing I love about Jack's game is the sacrifice. You know, contests, we know that West Coast are a fantastic outmarking side, especially in their back half, and the way they brought the ball to ground yesterday was what we asked of them. And, you know, 22 touches, I didn't even know he had 22 touches, but the impact he had on the game and the impact he's having around the footy club is really important.
How much of an impact is the off-field team having, do you reckon, Trench? Because you've got Justin Lepage has come back, Damo's mate. You've got Blake Carosella, and also Neil Baum has come back this year. How much of an impact have they made?
Yeah, I think there's just a change of thought, new ideas. At different stages have been successful in their careers, whether that be playing or coaching, and then you've got just a new environment for them to come into and start to stamp their authority in different roles, I suppose. Barmy's been outstanding. He's one of those quiet achievers, doesn't have too much to say in team meetings and so forth, but the one thing I've really taken note of with Barmy is that he always focuses on the positive in each individual, whether it's the youngest player on the list or the most senior. He just finds a way to find a positive about them. And it's echoing through our group, which is really impressive.
Were you surprised at the lack of attention Dustin Martin got from West Coast yesterday? 15 clearances and no one went near him.
I think he'd had more clearances in the first half than I'd had touches, so it wasn't a bad first half. Granted, I know that people have been talking about his disposal efficiency, but you know, he's impacting the game. 40 touches, couple of goals. People asked me whether I thought yesterday was a better performance than round one. I think his round one game was pretty special, but you know, if he's doing close to that each week, you know, you can't ask much more from a midfield forward, and we hope that he continues that form because it's been really impressive to watch.
Hey, Koch, the real test of a good head of hair is when the rain came, and it came in the last quarter. Your block of Lego head on top of your head did not move, but unfortunately, Jack up in the forward end is very, very sparse on top.
He had to keep brushing it over, did he, just to cover the car parks there? Yeah, I know, Brownie. I think I need to have to haircut once a week at the moment. It's going grey, though. That's a real issue.
All right, we are tackling the big issues. There's no doubt about that. Speaking of which, you're down there at the Queen Vic Market in Melbourne. It's the family footy zone, and you're hanging around there for a while. I think the Vic Market itself's open until about 3 o'clock today. So, look, it is indoors, as you can see. There's a roof over it anyway.
Undercover.
So, yeah, undercover. So yeah, the message would be?
The Specky Events teams have set up a couple of stations here, and the kids are loving it. So just getting amongst it and signing a few autographs.
Beautiful.
TJ, my votes from yesterday's game. I just thought Dustin Martin, 40 disposals, 15 clearances. Rancy's second half was back to the Alex Rance at his best. Trent Cotchin gets in the votes for his game. And Kane Lambert's shutdown job on Sam Mitchell after quarter time. He's in the votes as well.
Good on you, Lloydie. Thanks for that. Trent, thanks very much for your time this morning. It's always a nice change for you when all the news is positive, I guess.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good on you. Trent Cotchin joining us there from the Richmond Footy Club. He is at the Queen Vic Market at the moment, so if you're looking for something to do on this rainy day in Melbourne, get down there. Next up, though, it's the Chem Warehouse injury report with this man, Nathan Brown.
Oh, Chem.
Yes, thanks, TJ. Ryan Griffin did his ankle yesterday. Second term, didn't come back on. He was on crutches later on in the game and looks set to miss a couple of weeks for the GWS captain. They've got North Melbourne next week. Mitch McGovern, 3 to 4 weeks. Nick Gloston actually is next up. Third quarter, did not return after concussion. There's Mitch McGovern. He did his hamstring, didn't play any further part in the game. It was late. Didn't come back on. Had 9 disposals very, very early. So let's hope Pico is okay.
Okay, good on you, Nathan. Thanks very much for that. Now, you mentioned Liam Picken.
Yes.
Of course. Now, his wife put up an Instagram post last night, and this is one of their... You've got a few kids. This is one of them. It says, this pic... I wish I could read this. This pic is one... Go on,
Foxy, bring it a bit closer.
This pick is one of 1,000 reasons why this is more than a game to us. Knocks to the head will always be the most hated part of this sport. Liam is in good hands and looking okay now, but gosh, I hate being on the other side of the country.
That is terrific. All right, well, I think we got the TV close enough in the end. I mean, why couldn't you just do that when I was a little earlier there, Foxy?
Come on, Foxy.
Than's very much for that. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Mitch Duncan's in the house. He's over at the cafe at the moment.
Mitchy.
You all right, Bill?
I didn't see him. He just come in, didn't he?
You didn't see, he's been sitting there all day.
How long have you been there, Mitch?
About a minute.
You're not on.
All right, you're watching the Sunday Footy Show. We'll see you in just a tick. That's very close. You're watching the Sunday Footy Show wherever you are. Hope you're enjoying it. Let's take a look at the goings-on at Etihad Stadium yesterday afternoon. Geelong up against Melbourne. And look, I mean, Demon supporters, 13-19. You'd really be absolutely spitting chips at the moment as a result of that. But at the end of the day, it was Geelong that got the Bickies 29-point winners, Bill.
They were indeed. Tommy Hawkins kicked 5, Menzel 4, 9 between them again. Dangerfield very good there with 3. Joel Selwood was good again. And this man's been very good with those 2. Mitchy Duncan been outstanding this year. Welcome, Mitch.
Thanks, Bill.
Very good, quick game last night early on, wasn't it?
Yeah, under the roof, it always is quick. We've been there the last 2 weeks and, yeah, especially a young team like Melbourne, they got on the outside of us quite easily in the first half.
Yeah, first quarter was good. The Cats kicked 5 goals to 2 and great transition through the middle of the ground. Good run. And I was liking the way that Blixards was very good early on.
He was, yeah. He started the game on fire. I think he kicked 2 first quarter goals. Yeah, he's got a lot of attributes that help our side.
Did you see the game change at all from where you were standing with Max Gawn going off?
Oh, I think so, a little bit. The way they set up the ground from centre bounces, they have 8 off the back at the moment, and getting numbers around the ball, and he gets his hand on it a fair bit, so I think, yeah, it definitely helped.
The second quarter.
Strong in the contest too, barely loses one-on-one, so very handy to have in our forward line.
Young Parfitt was good last night too, 23 disposals, some real dash through half back and half forward.
Yeah,
yeah, he's come in and learned the Geelong way really quickly, so very good little player from up north, so yeah, we're rapt to have him at the footy club.
Looks like Bartel sometimes when he gets it, doesn't he, with the number 3?
When he finishes like that, under pressure, he's pretty good for an 18-year-old.
On the OFUs. And congratulations to you and your beautiful girlfriend, Demi. She's pregnant.
Yeah, mate, got one in the oven. 23, just gone 23 weeks, so over halfway. So with footy every week, it's going to be pretty quick.
It will. Not getting married or anything, just...
not yet, mate. Might just be housemates.
Oh, okay. Boy or girl, do you know yet? Or
not sure. Yeah. Don't know.
Surprise.
Cameron Lynn had another boy.
Yeah? Well, his wife
Jed.
did.
Well, he did, yeah.
Yeah, his wife did. Now, I'm quite sure Chemist Warehouse will have plenty of stuff for the baby when it comes, because that's part of the prize pack.
Yeah, after the votes, yes, Tony. Get in order here, old chomp chomp. Here we go. Jayden Hunt was outstanding with his run. I loved him from the half-back line. Took about 3 hangers last night. Joel Selwood, Nathan Jones and Paddy Dangerfield. Sorry, Mitch, I couldn't get you in there, but those 2 just go ahead of you.
Why wouldn't you put Mitch in there?
Well, those 2 are outstanding. They were. Even the coach said that.
There's probably too many Melbourne blokes in there. We won.
Nate Jones was good, wasn't he?
Yeah,
who would you take out?
Yeah.
Me?
Thank you, Ed. Here's the prizes. Callaway driver.
Two on
Look at
one.
this one. You'll love this one, Mitchy boy. The GBB Epic. It's the greatest driver in the business. Uncle Jack Watches, unclejackwatches.com there. The Australian-made gift pack. Thanks to Australian-made, a liquid skincare pack. That's valued at $230, Mitchy boy. You'll love that.
Beautiful.
A bit of a Metro sequel type. Tradie undies, a pack of tradie undies there guaranteed to make you tough. Look at them, you'll love them. The Man Shake, a gift pack thanks to the Man Shake. Got a gut? Shake it off with the Man Shake. Bar Fridges from Bar Fridges Australia, there it is there, $300 voucher, they're the best in the business. Home Timber and Hardware, $100 gift voucher. Go where the tradies go. Chemist Warehouse, there we go. A close shave with the new Gillette Fusion Razor. That is a beauty there. Love that. Chemist Warehouse, well done. And the Aquila shoes and clothing, $250 voucher. Buy some shoes, buy some clothes there at Aquila, Mitchy boy.
Your beauty, Bill.
Terrific stuff. Well, Mitch, stay around with us because Matthew Lloyd's along now with the Australian-made Team of the Year. Of course, the Australian-made logo, helping Australians for the past 30 years.
TJ, it's always hard this time of year, but you can swing the axe pretty hard because players will come in, players will come out. There's 7 changes.
Duncan?
Buddy gets held goalless. He's out, Bill. Obviously, Pendlebury very stiff. He's been great.
Gaff had 36
I know
yesterday.
he did, but I want to show the players that come in, Brownie. He had a good game, but they weren't that damaging. These are the players that have come in. Lockie Hunter's kicking goals, so he replaces Gaff. Betts, Hunt, your man off half-back, damaging. Tommy Hawkins, he picks himself over Lance Franklin. And these two... On the bench, because Dustin Martin can't be replaced. Zach Merritt can't be replaced. Ollie Wines can't be replaced.
Is the Bont a bit lucky, Lloydie?
The Bont, but I couldn't find a winger. I didn't want to throw one of these two on a wing when they don't play there. Yeah, so watch this space. Bont was still in the best players for the Dogs last night. He wasn't as effective, but yeah, they're the best 22 at the moment.
What do you make of that, Mitch?
Oh, mate, they're all good players. Can't fold him.
Dangerfield and Selwood on the bench.
Oh, that's how good the team is, obviously. I'd probably have him 1-2 in the middle, but can win you a game off their own boot.
All right, don't forget, there it is, the Team of the Year with thanks to Matthew Lloyd and Aussie Made. And when you go shopping, always look for that Aussie Made logo. We'll take a break. When we come back, I think, Billy, you're going to make a debut at the Plasma for the first time this year. Lloydie's got a barrel and a half. You've got to stick around for that. And also, one of the great leaders of the Fremantle Football Club. I think he's a leader, isn't he, Brownie?
I think he is. Yeah. Bill thinks he's captain.
David Mundy, that's coming up next on the Sunday Footy Show. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Hope you're enjoying yourself on this Sunday. It's been a cracker of a show so far, let me tell you. Speaking of crackers, what about the game over in the West last night? This was Freo up against the reigning premiers, the Western Bulldogs. And Nathan, you saw it. Could you believe it?
Couldn't believe it. They got over an amazing start. Played the youngsters, played the young kids. Ross Lyon brought them all in. They were paced. The Hill brothers were really good. Nat Fyfe was back to his best, 33 disposals. Walters kicked 2 really nice goals in the last quarter with 3. But we welcome one of the stars last night. He's getting older, but he's the captain. He's a very, very good player. And when it was counted, he stood up last night. David Mundy, he's not captain, is he? Well, he should be captain. He should be unbelievable. He should be the captain. He should be the All-Australian captain, Lloydie, in your team later on. David Mundy, they came at you late in the three-quarter time, but you got back into the game. And how good was the win?
Yeah, great intro there, boys. Yeah, as all great sides do, we knew the Western Bulldogs would come again. But credit to our boys who really dug deep in that last quarter and ran the game out really well.
David, I just want to ask you, we were talking earlier in the show with Damien Barrett, who had the story on Thursday night on the Footy Show about Ross calling in the leadership group and basically laying down the law, saying, that's it, I've tried it your way, I'm doing it my way. Is that how it panned out?
I'm not entirely sure where that came from, but earlier in the week, Ross and all the coaches with the leadership group, we had a really robust discussion about where we were at and where we wanted to go as a football club and team, and from there really come away with some key learnings that we wanted to implement, which we saw during the week and yesterday.
How robust is robust?
A pretty good debate, a good discussion, a really healthy chat, and as I said, that led to some really key outcomes.
David, we're going to have a look at a couple of the highlights now. You got away to a great start, but your pace...
We show that. There it is again. Just a bit of an awkward moment. We only show that because it reminds us of this, Tony. Tony, you're watching?
Yeah.
Reminds us of this.
Oh, well done, Mark. You did that very well. Well, look, all the very best for Thursday night, mate. Yeah, Tone, good on you.
We've got got to show that every week.
No, we don't. Actually, it was funny what happened after that. I said, hey, come here.
Oh, yes.
No, I didn't actually.
What was more embarrassing, that one or the Beck Judd one?
There was nothing about the Beck Judd one that was embarrassing.
For you, not her.
Why was it embarrassing for me?
Oh, I think it was
awkward.
It was awkward, yeah.
It wasn't awkward.
It was awkward.
Yeah, it was.
She pulled back pretty quickly.
Really as quick as the
No barbecues for you. No barbecues.
There was nothing. Look, don't worry about the Beck Judd thing, all right? Now, here's Lloydie. He's got himself a barrel. Why did I take this job?
Now, supporters must pull their hair out. The players getting paid around $500 to $1 million miss shots like this. Let's take a look how Melbourne blew it yesterday. I know we've spoken about it yesterday. 19 behinds. Absolute sitters. These shots just must be kicked by AFL footballs. They would be 3-0. But these are the cheap shots I'd be most upset about if I was a Melbourne supporter. These two guys, Jordan Lewis and Jesse Hogan, if they miss the finals by one game, and possibly two because they're not playing for another week or two, those are the two players I'd be blaming more than those Melbourne players who's missed shots for goal. Not good enough. They got frustrated by Carlton last week, and that was from poor acts from those two players.
If Lewis and Hogan play yesterday,
they win.
Melbourne win.
They
That's
win.
right.
Yep. So,
what would you do to fix it?
Well, there's nothing you can do now. Those two would want to have pretty big games when they come back and pinch one against the top couple of sides because, that's just, if you bump someone spur of the moment, it's a split-second decision. When you're doing acts like that off the ball, that's just undisciplined.
All right, let's talk Showdown now. And Kane, you were there along with the 58,000 fans who packed.
Showdown 42 didn't disappoint. TJ Crows getting over the line. Port Adelaide came out pretty hard and kicked the first 3 goals, but in the end, Crows too good, led by Walker and Sloan, which we'll get to in a minute. But it was physical as it always is. Robbie Gray and Charlie Dixon up early. Put Adelaide on fire. They kicked a couple of goals from their kick-outs, which the Crows would have been.
On the ground, he is an absolute star.
His record in showdowns, Bill, he averages nearly 4 goals a game in the 7 showdowns. Port Adelaide, no answers for him.
27 goals in 7 games in the showdowns.
There you go.
Brandy, you touched on him earlier. Andy Otten, just the return of Andy Otten, something they wouldn't have picked. Obviously, he can go in the ruck at times or he can go forward, kicking 2 goals. Not sure he would have thought that he was that type of player. He's always been a defender before he did his knees.
Absolute bonus, and has spent some time in the ruck to help Jacobs out as well with Jenkins not there. So he's a fine, great story after coming back from those knee injuries. The votes, Rory Sloan won the Showdown medal. He was best on field, 24 contested possessions. Ollie Wines on fire, Taylor Walker's last quarter and his 4 goals, and Richard Douglas having a great year.
Do they have a name for that Showdown medal?
They don't yet. It was named the Phil Walsh medal for one Showdown only. I think they should make it that full time because Phil has a relationship with both Port Adelaide and the Crows. I think it's a nice fit. But
just on your article, how many medals did your brother win?
Just the one.
One, yeah.
But it was more just for the way he built up the Showdown, what he said in the press and the emotion that he showed.
Take any out yourself?
No.
A Corns medal. Corns, that'd be nice.
Got stitched up, though. It got 3 votes in the Brownlow, but Hamish Hartlett stitched me.
Anyway, moving along. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. You can continue this on the flight home.
Sitting next to this bloke.
You're watching the Sunday Footy Show. When we come back, we'll talk about Collingwood's, it was only a point win, but really it was a big win in the overall scheme of things. And also, gather round, kiddies, because Uncle Billy's booming up to the big TV. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. You're not Billy. Billy, you're not on yet.
I'm warming up. Buddies, best 5. You ready to go?
Oh, we're gonna celebrate Buddy's best 5.
Yeah.
Not from Friday night.
No,
not from Friday night. He was goalless. He was goalless in this scoreline, and as we've spoken about throughout the show, Collingwood 1-point winners over the Sydney Swans, who are now 0-3. Nathan, I've got to say, but what a game this was.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great game. Great for Collingwood. Brandy and I were there. 23-2 inside 50s. Fasolo set them alight early, as did Will Hoskin-Elliott. So let's take a look at a couple of key players and key goals late in the game. Adam Treloar
have a look at this.
Didn't use the ball as well as you'd hope, but this piece of play was crucial late in the game. Adam Treloar, he's giving everything. He's just got to use the ball a little bit better. And then you've got Will Hoskin-Elliott. Corns, I think he's one of the finds of the year so far. He's been just because he doesn't miss when he gets a chance.
And he kicked 3 last week as well, 12 marks, and was great again. Big moment, game on the line. It's a good one for him. I reckon he's playing tougher and harder than he has before.
Yeah, very good. And they were tough and hard themselves, the Pies. 113 tackles. They were absolutely relentless. In the first quarter, they absolutely smashed Sydney. I've never seen Sydney be as uncompetitive in a quarter of footy the way they were. They had more disposals, Collingwood, more tackles, 24-2 inside 50s, and it was all on the back of just enormous tackle, intensity, pressure. They were terrific the other night, the Pies, particularly in this first quarter.
This guy was good as well. Henry Shade, who I must admit I didn't know a lot about before the start of the season. Collingwood lost Jack Frost. They also lost Nathan Brown. So they needed someone to step up in defence. And he's kept Buddy goalless in his 250th. I know Bill's going to look at Buddy's goals in a minute. But what a great performance. One-on-one, won those matchups. And, one of the... best performances of his career, TJ.
Exactly. Let's have a look at some votes, shall we?
Yes, look at the votes. Shady's in there, Slim. Brownie tried that gag a couple of times, didn't work.
Yeah,
but Taylor Adams gets the 8 votes. Shade gets 8 as well. Hanbury's best game of the year. And the Faz, 4 goals is really important.
Votes.
And the Faz, Alex Fasolo, actually makes his Footy Show debut on Thursday night.
Doesn't lack any confidence, TJ.
No, he's good. I like that about him, though.
Well,
love watching the Faz.
Not many of those panellists do lack confidence, I've got to say. Oh, Alex Rance is a bit hesitant to sort of express himself.
Different cat.
All right, here he is over at the Plasma. He has been champing at the bit.
Here we go, and we love Buddy, of course, 250th game the other night. Didn't kick any goals, but we've gone back and we've found Buddy's best 5 goals in his career. Let's have a look at him now. Number 5.
Roll the video.
Here we go. Have a look at this one. Brian Lake thinks he's got him here. Taps it to himself. Wheels around. That is a magnificent goal, Buddy. We love that. That is fantastic. That's only the 5th best one, so I say. 4th. Here we go. Look at this one here. Buddy, look, just taps it out front. This is what you love about him. How quick and versatile and good over the ground he is. That is a nice goal. That's 4. Number 3, Buddy. Budweiser, here we go. Look at this one. A bit of Timmy Watson over the top and goes bang from inside 50. You've got to love that about the big fella. Buddy, we love you. Number 2, here we go. Guess which one's number 1, by the way. Look at this one, 70 metres out. The scores are all very close too. Don't worry about that. That's when he kicks the big goals, and that's why he gets the big bucks. That is a good one. But we love this. Sorry, Carl. Look at here. Look at old Hooksy, old flat feet. Come on, run, Hooksy. He can't get him. He's had 1. He's just running along the boundary here. 2. Has another one and kicks a lovely goal. And Buddy, that is magnificent. That is 5 of the best from the great man, Buddy Franklin.
Did that get goal of the year?
Not sure.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Bill, Carey, you're starting aside. Carey or Franklin? Who do you take?
Carey. Take the duck, I would have thought, yeah. And Brownless.
All right, we're going to...
Come on, Tane, jeez.
We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. When we come back, Damo's got his agenda and also something else a little special for you. Stick around.
This may be my last season. You know, I've got some things going on in my life that, you know, I'm not going to elaborate on, but they're my number 1 priority at the moment. I don't know what 2018 holds for me. You know, I'll sit down with the club at the end of the year, we'll talk through that and I'll work out what the next step is for me.
If they don't trade you at the end of the year, might you give the game away?
Well, that's exactly what I was saying, Hutch.
So don't shed a tear, don't shed a tear for me. Save your...
Goodness me, just a bit over the top, I would have thought, with the music and all the rest of it. Well, that was
exclusive. He didn't speak to anyone else.
What was the music?
Well, Dogsy would put that together.
No, Damo did all that, package that.
Anyway, whatever you thought of it, it was a compelling interview, I've got to say that. Damo, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, TJ, I took a fair bit out of it. I mean, what I did take out of it was he's not going to be playing for the Gold Coast Suns under any circumstances next year. And what I can also tell you guys is that in the past month, there has been a softening on those personal issues that Gary Ablett refers to. I mean, again, we know in the industry what they are. We're not going to broadcast them. It's for Gary. But they are of a nature.
What do they pertain to?
Well, as he says, TJ, family/personal reasons. And you can, you know, read whatever you want into that. But it is family, it is personal. And that's a situation that the Gold Coast Suns, despite being really hardline only a month ago on the Footy Show, Tony Cochrane basically, and I'm paraphrasing, over my dead body will be leaving that club. They have changed in the past month on that, and they've had a good chat to him even post that interview, and they are well aware of the situations to which he's referring. And I now believe that very easily now they'll reach a decision that will have him not playing for them next year. Now, where that's at and for who and for how much money, that's up to him. But that's what I believe to be the case now.
And does anyone on the panel think that that's unreasonable on the part of Gary Ablett?
Oh, I feel for the Gold Coast Suns. Because,
absolutely,
Gary Ablett
out so much money.
And they say Gary Ablett pushed pretty hard for a third year instead of 2. So, and now he doesn't want to, play that contract out.
Yeah, with where they're at though, why would they keep him? There's no reason for how low they've gone to keep him at 33 years of age next year.
Yeah.
Free up some money in the salary cap and get a couple of young players in.
And with Mark Evans effectively being the AFL appointed CEO, he is really having his eyes open to what needs to be done at that footy club. And I don't think he's going to waste a lot of time with people who don't want to be there from the outset, given he's got to make decisions on people who are there and probably won't be. Hey, Max Gorn, we discussed off the top that by close of play today, Bill, 5 o'clock is close of play times, we'll know what he's done by way of this hamstring. But Corey Norris of 9 News caught up with him this morning.
Nothing yet. I'll get a phone call in about an hour. I'll choose if I pick it up or not. It tends to be a bad phone call, that one, but I'm hoping just that normal month, but you never know.
Yeah, they are still hopeful. I've spoken to some at the club that they are hopeful that it is just a standard month-long hamstring issue, but until the doctor fully goes through those scans this morning, they won't know. Just on Melbourne, Bernie Vince, who came back into the team after a suspension the previous week, had a plastic surgery type of procedure last night on his big toe, on his non-preferred foot, non-preferred kicking foot, the left foot that is. Hopeful of playing, though, next week, as strange as that sounds, but it was really messy, really serious and ugly, I would have thought.
What do you have? Well, he lost his toenail.
Lost his toenail, basically, and there's something else related to that problem that needed the instant and immediate surgery.
Now, somebody, just speaking about toenails, Kane, someone mentioned to me, someone of some note over in Adelaide, did you used to pick your toenails and then spit it at your teammates in the rooms before the game?
Tony, no.
Did you or didn't you?
You've been hanging out with Brownie too much.
Did you or didn't you?
Yes, Corns.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
So Warren Treadray's a liar, isn't he?
Yes, Treaders is a liar.
And good news for Collingwood. After their good win against the Swans on Friday night, they then see this young forward, still young, Jamie Elliott, kicking 5 goals in a VFL hit-out. And given that he hasn't played since 2015, has now got the VFL game under his belt and looked good in that game. You'd think, Bill, he would be coming back into the team. You'd think to play St Kilda next weekend.
Hey, your hair looks nice.
Does it? Yeah, at least I've still got some.
All right, let's move over to Old Toenails himself. He was watching the game down there in Tassie last night.
Yeah, big crowd in Tassie, Bill, 8,700 there. Not many turned up, but good performance from the Giants. I thought it was good in the ruck. North Melbourne, as I said, competitive, but in the end, the class just shone through for the Giants. Here's the votes. Josh Kelly, that man. Jack Zeeble, 7 was good. Green and Cameron in the forward line, also very good. All
right, let's update the leaderboard now. This is the Lou Richards medal. Ollie Wines finds himself on top from Patrick Dangerfield and Joel Selwood. Scott Pendlebury and Josh Kelly making up the leaders board there. And this is what they're playing for.
This year's Lou Richards medal is brought to you by the Isuzu D-Max. The winning player will receive $20,000 cash and nominate the junior club of their choice to receive a brand new Isuzu D-Max. Go your own way.
What a terrific prize for a very worthy medal. We're going to take a break in the Sunday Footy Show, after which we'll celebrate one of the great moments of the game from the past 25 years.
Having endured the week from hell, James Hird produced one of the finest individual performances the game has ever seen. Hird had copped a $25,000 fine for openly blaming umpire Scott McLaren during an appearance on the Footy Show for his side's loss the previous week.
I thought the umpiring was actually quite disgraceful on Saturday night.
How low?
There were some instances, especially by one umpire, there were some instances that were we thought were a bit rich, and we're not sure where he's coming from. The one umpire, we've had problems with him over the past. And
seeing as you've gone that far?
Well, Scott McLaren hasn't been our favourite umpire.
As the footy world rounded on the Essendon skip-up, Hird responded the way all great champions respond. An inspiring 15-possession final term was capped off with a stunning snap from the boundary with just seconds remaining to single-handedly drag his team across the line.
Bullen! Hird! The fairy tale's complete after a horror week! James Hird, you are a genius!
And with that embrace, the emotion from one of the toughest weeks of his playing career was there for all to see.
Well, what a night was back in 2004, I think it was. And I think we put the call out on the Sunday Footy show the next day for that young fella who was hugged by Hurdy.
And he was in here, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was wrapped. He had a great night, obviously. But how good was James there? We miss him.
You've got to love the embrace he had with his supporters there. You got the respect he showed the supporters.
A lot of respect.
But then I went back through the footage and I had a look at this man, the man right next to you, TJ.
Where?
Have a look at Lloydie just blow his nose into his hand there and then high-five the supporters. Lord,
good pick up, mate. Good pick up, mate.
And Brownie, that was the only highlight we saw of him in that package. None of his playing highlights. Did you have an ordinary night that night?
I felt sorry for poor old Trent Carroll by the end of that game. 8 goals, 3 Brownlow votes. Well, Brownie, where were my highlights there?
Well, you can show them tomorrow night. You can show them tomorrow night on Footy Classified live, Lloydie, at 9:30, which will be terrific on Channel 9. And don't forget the Footy Show live at around 8:30 on Thursday night. Should be terrific stuff. Now, before we go to the latest odds, let's get your tips for the remainder of the games for round 3.
St Kilda for me, Essendon. I think the Gold Coast Suns can win this one.
Whoa.
Gary Ablett will have 30 and he'll kick 4 goals. Go, Gazza.
For mine, I think St Kilda and Etihad will see how good they are. I think they've come a long way. Essendon, it's a bit of a danger game in those conditions, but should be too slick for them, and the Hawks will bounce back.
Agree with Lloydie. Looking forward to O'Meara up against his old side, the Suns. TJ, should be an interesting day for him.
Yeah, well, Billy reckons they might just do it. What are the odds, Nathan?
Any money?
Hey, biggest upset, I'll get to those odds in a minute, but the biggest upset of the round was last night. We had a punter have 85,000 on the Dogs last night, so he'd be smarting. But also a punter had 15 grand on the Fremantle Dockers, so a very happy punter this morning. That was live, so it was after they kicked the first 3 goals. So we got about 235 for him, so still a very happy punter on a Sunday morning. Now, the Saints, we've had most of the money on the Saints at 40 plus. They think they'll bounce back. Haven't won a game yet, the Saints, but 40 plus is where the money has come. Not a lot of love for the Brisbane Lions in this one. And then, wet day today. It will be a low-scoring game. Remember that if you're going to bet on the total points markets, it is going to be low. Carlton don't score that big. But we have had a little bit of money for Carlton overnight and this morning, and they've certainly firmed in. And money for the Gold Coast Suns. They started around $3.30. The Hawks are $1.30, so money on the Suns in this game. Money on Gary Ablett to have those 30 possessions, as you were saying, Bill, and the 3 goals. You get the 30 possession, 3-goal bonus. So we've got the Hawks there, but I still think the Hawks will win. And our head-to-head special, by 18 points or more, it happened 15 of the 18 times in first 2 rounds. We gave back over 600 grand in bonus bets. And what about our mega bet? Centres around our man, the Jaeger bomb. It was his favourite drink, TJ, back in the saloon days when he used to go to the saloon. He on the bar like that. 35 disposals, kick a goal. TJ at the bar, just the reverse prone. Gamble responsibly.
What is your favourite team this week?
My favourite team? Look, probably Essendon might be good. Yeah, that's my favourite team, yeah. Hey, before we go, do you want to wish your mum happy birthday?
Yes, Bev, my mother, happy 70th birthday, because in the big celebration at Crown today, so it'll be brilliant.
How many people?
I've got 18 going.
18.
Yeah, lucky number. But all the grandkids, everyone's going to be there. So
and you're forking
paid for it?
No.
Oh, you know, okay.
We're all chipping in.
Say Crown again.
Yeah. Said it once, we don't need to say it again. All right, okay, Future Stars is up next. Whatever you're doing for this Sunday, hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you around about the same time next Sunday. See you then.